So you bought a Model 3 or a Model Y, but you want some of the convenient features of the Model S and X. Let's start with the Model X. What is a great feature of the Model X? Well, it's something that prevents this. Soft closed doors. So instead of slamming the car doors or having your passengers slam the car doors, you can simply just push it closed. And even though it's not all the way in right now, the soft close mechanism will suck the door completely in without you having to slam the door. Model X status on your 3 or Y. Now that we have the Model X covered, let's talk about the Model S. What is awesome about the Model S? The handshake feature. When you walk up to the car, the door handles automatically present open for you. With the Model 3 and Ys, you have to manually push in, grab, and then open the door. What if you didn't have to do all those steps? Imagine if when you walked up to the car, the door handle was already waiting for you, presented out like this. So when you come up to it, you don't have to press it in. All you have to do is come under here, grab it, and pull it out. So much easier. And with that, let's get to installing soft closed doors and auto presenting door handles. TLAO in the description below. Use my discount code TESLAFPV to save you, I think like $100, if not more dollars off of these. So it's a great discount code. In the box, we're gonna get Tesla electric handles. There's actually not a lot of parts inside of here. It's pretty minimalistic. You're going to have this. All 4 door handles connect to this module. And then outside of this is where we get the power and the data from our car. We have 10 items. That was one of them. The second one is going to be this CAN bus plug with our power cables. And then we have 4 wires. They're each different length. Pay attention to them because this box right here is going to go in the front passenger side. So you have to make sure all the wires are long enough to get to the front passenger side, but no worries, each of them are labeled and it tells you where it goes. So you have these 2 and you have these 2 as well. So 4 wires for each of the doors. It just makes sense. Lastly, you're gonna get a bunch of zip ties. Okay, so I guess like 11 things. It's durable, it's durable. And then you're gonna get 4 of these. These are the auto presenting door handles. They're super sick. They look like OEM door handles, except they have these little plugs on the bottom, which make them auto presenting. So we're gonna get to this in a second. So this was the unboxing. So what are we cooking? First, we're going to start on the front passenger side. You're first going to need a pick and a small pry tool. Something like this, or an actual pry tool might work. So come here and we'll get this done. First, we need to pry off this inner panel right here. So to remove this first panel, open your glove box. It's gonna make it a lot easier. From here, there's a little tab that you can just pull up like this. You can shove a pry tool in here now, or just pull it off. And it will slide off just like this. It just sits on these clips right here. From there, you can remove this panel. It's gonna be easier if you pull up on the weather stripping to remove the weather stripping. All you need to do is put your fingers under it and pull up. It just sits on a metal groove. All you need to do is pull up and off, just like this. From there, you can get this part out by putting your pry tool up here and simply prying outwards towards you. It just has a single clip up here. So it's gonna pop out like this. When it pops out, just pull it up. And this is what this piece will look like. From there, there's this pin. You can pull it out. Simply use a pick like this, put it in here, pop it out, and then just pull it out. That's how we would remove this one. From there, that's gonna be the only thing holding this in. You can close the glove box, and this bottom piece right there, it's being held on by clips. So you're just going to pull up on it. It's held in by this white piece right here. It's a wire channel. So just pull up, and then from there, it should slide backwards. So slide it back away from the car, and you have your plastic piece removed. You can just throw it up here for now with the other panels. What you're gonna need is this CAN bus plug. You have a fuse, the positive and negative terminals. These are gonna clip into your battery or any kind of power source that you have. And then you have this plug that goes into the module. Let's plug this in first. And that's gonna go right here. This blue plug is typically empty. If you have something in here though, it usually comes with a splitter. I have a splitter because I have another product installed in here. So I'm just going to take this data bus reader and we're gonna install it just like this. So that clicks in like that. And then this power cable can go to our control box, which I'll just grab and click in like this. Now there's no power to it yet because we haven't connected the power, but we'll do that later. All right, editing Brandon here. So just for storytelling's sake, and I want you guys to do this in the best order, there are gonna be a few cuts around and you'll notice that location and time-wise, but don't worry about it. I'm gonna put this video together so that you can install these door handles and soft close doors as simply and easily as possible. I always like to test my equipment, so we are about to time jump to the power testing. Let's go. All right guys, now it's time to route the power source to the control box for the power opening doors. You have your positive and negative wire. What you're gonna want to do is one of two things. You can either run this to the low voltage battery that comes with your car, or you could run it to an external battery. To run this to the low voltage battery, all you're going to need to do is fish this through the firewall. To run something through the firewall, I'll have that in the description below the like button. So check that out if you want to run this to the low voltage of the car. You're basically gonna go through the car's firewall in here to the low voltage battery. That video is super detailed, and that's how you're gonna grab power for this. Now, if you want to run it to the external battery, which is what we're going to be doing here, you're gonna be running the wire to wherever your external battery is. Mine is in the sub trunk. So these wires are going to run underneath the panels, underneath the back panels, to the back right here, where we have the external battery. Eventually, you're gonna want to run it underneath the paneling with these wires to go to the front. So we're stripping back some of the insulation on these wires so that way the metal part is exposed so it can make contact with these metal parts. Putting it in our dual channel just like this. We're using the white as negative and the green as positive. Try not to get those mixed up. Clamping our dual channel connector closed. We can then snip these, stripping back the insulation on these wires. All right, so closing that up, guys, red is positive, green is positive, white is negative, black is negative. This is all closed up. We're gonna plug the FR, front right, into the FR, which is the front right. So this is plugged in. All right, guys, so we wired it to our 12 volts in the back right here. So with it plugged into our data bus splitter, guys, check this out. So first off, soft close doors, just sucks it in automatically. You walk up to the car, the door handle should present itself. In fact, it will present itself. Since we're already next to it, it's not going to present itself. To make it come out, just press the front, it'll come out, pull it, and boom. Notice the color changing? Guys, this is so customizable. And what I mean by customizable is if you press this, there's a small button under here. You can press it multiple times and change the color on it. White for light cycle. Let's go, guys.
Hey guys, editing Brandon here. So you should actually start from the driver's side door when we're talking about removing door panels. And that's just because all your window controls are over there. So it's easier to adjust the other side if this one is done first and foremost. I'm going to start on the passenger side, but another reason is also I feel like I didn't record that side good enough, so that's why we're going to move to the driver's side door. I want to give you guys the best step-by-step guide to install this, because if you follow these steps, there's no way you can mess anything up.
3 screws, you're going to take this pick right here, you're going to put it underneath the reflector, and then you're just going to pull it outwards. And it simply pops out just like this. Now, the reflectors have a direction. It tells you this way up. So when you install it, just make sure you put it that way up. So this one's removed. There is the torque screw right here. There is a torque screw underneath this door clicking button right here. And then one more torque screw underneath the window controls right here. The next thing that you need to do is remove the tweeter speaker right here. So to remove the tweeter, take 2 pry tools and slide it up.
Yeah.
There you go. The tweeter is being held on by this clip and this clip right here. There's this plug right here. You're just gonna want to pull it out just like that. From there, we're going to remove the inner door panel. We're gonna start from the bottom. Take your pry tools.
And then it's easier too, so it's like kind of like twist it like that. Better if you can stick your finger underneath, so it can just use your hand. Just
okay. There you go.
Once one is out, you got the rest.
All right. So we're gonna start removing the other clips. So just pulling it out. Put your foot right here, to be honest, and just should be a clip up here as well. From there, if all the clips are completely removed, we should just be able to slide the door up and gently, very gently, pry it off. because you still have wires connecting to the door. We need to disconnect those wires so that we can work on this. The first thing that you're going to do on this door is find the puddle light down here. From there, unplug that. I'm going to unplug it. You're going to see the window roll up, I believe. Here, let's do it. Check out the window, guys. Rolls up because it thinks that the door is closed. From there, you're going to want to make sure the bolts for the window are where you can easily remove them with a ratchet. We're going to do that in a second once we disconnect that door panel, but we need this door panel still to adjust the window. So remove this big grommet right here, remove this big grommet as well. From there, you're going to want to roll the window down until you can see the bolts right in the middle of these holes. It does take a second, so be patient. You really got to get them right in the middle. Awesome, guys. So you can see this one is right here and this one is right here. Perfect for me to put a tool in and get them out. Now what we're going to need to do is remove this part from the actual door itself. To do that, we need to release the emergency pull handle as well as any cables going to the electronics here. We're going to use this tool to remove this zip tied part right here. Just go underneath the zip tie and then pry it up. And there's a second one right here. So again, go underneath the zip tie and pry it up. If it doesn't come straight up, just wiggle it a little bit and it'll come out like that. We're gonna remove the door lock now. So there's 2 clips on each side right here that are holding it down. You need to release it from those clips. So you're gonna need to pull it up just like this. And from there, you should be able to slide it out of this groove right here. It's being held in by this, so just route it from underneath and your emergency door release will come off. From there, there's this wiring harness. Let's take out this white wire, disconnect it, and then you're going to need to unplug this one. All right, so this one also pull it up and out of the groove it sits on. From there, you can easily peel it off. And if it doesn't come off, take a pick tool. You're gonna want to press it into this little lock piece and press it down. There you go. So that will be unplugged. So 3 things unplugged so far. And then from there, we're gonna take this wire out of its clip, this wire out of its clip, and then we need to pop this zip tie part off, wiggling it out, pulling it up. We'll undo this blue clip. So take it out of its little groove right there, and then, cold hands. My fingers are like so purple right now. There you go. This one's for the tweeter. So we need one more zip tie removal right here. From there, your door wiring harness is disconnected and your panel's out. Nice. We'll just put her right here for now. So we're gonna need a 10 mil socket to go into here to remove these 2 bolts so that we can take the window off. You're gonna want to mark where the window sits with some tape. That way you can perfectly align it against this weather seal right here to make sure it has the factory OEM fit. First thing we gotta do before we remove anything is mark where we're gonna take it off. First, you're gonna mark the edge of where the window sits. That way you know how far to put it back. You don't wanna put it back too far, and you don't wanna put it back too far that way as well. So we're gonna mark the back as well as the height of the window. And the height of the window is gonna be based off this right here. So before we remove the bolts, this inner weather stripping is gonna have to come out. There's just a little plug right here, which it sits into, and then one on the outside. You can see these orange pieces right here are basically it. Once you pull that off, you can pull it up and it's just going to pull away from the car. And now is where we remove the window. So you're going to need a 10 mil socket for this, as well as a 10 mil socket for this. So these are actually 13 mil. Apparently for the Model Ys, they're 10 mil. So these, Model 3, 13 mil. As Anon is undoing the bolts, I'm just holding the glass up here to make sure it doesn't fall or it doesn't wiggle around too much. So we're going to use a magnet as well to make sure the bolt doesn't fall down into the door. We will have to remove this panel anyways, so it's not a huge issue if it drops down. It's just better if it doesn't. The window just pops out like that.
Put it somewhere safe.
Chris's car is very safe. So I have a Model 3. Behind these grommets are typically screws if and if only you have a Model Y. So if you have a Model Y, you would remove these and take the screws off behind here to remove this black part. For Model 3s, all you have to do is remove these. These are going to be 8 mil bolts, so we're using an 8 mil socket. So before removing this, you're gonna wanna loosen it a little bit before you just pry it off, especially if you've never removed this before. The rubber sealing around it might be a little stuck to the door. So take a pry tool and you're going to go around the edges, loosening it just before you need to pull it out. There we go. We should unplug this as well. Okay, so we're also going to need to remove these bolts. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, there's a 5th one over there as well. First, we're going to unplug this.
There we go.
We're gonna also unplug the wire that goes to this right here. This clip is holding the outer part to the inner, so just push it through. There, it should click out. This needs to be separated from this right here. So we need to undo these little zip tie points right here, right here, right here, and right here as well. These zip tie points need to be pushed out from the back. So it comes out like this. There's little clips on the inside. If you just yank it out, you're gonna break the clips. That's why you need to push it out. Do you pinch it in?
So you reach your hand from the back and pinch it like that.
All right, so you're gonna pinch it in and pull it out. This one popped out. Oh, okay.
Don't worry about that.
This clip pops out. That's gonna give us clearance to push this one out as well. It's being held in here. That clip? Oh, okay.
That's the sound of the other one falling inside.
There's a clip down here, and there's a clip right here. Sometimes when you pull it out, the clip might fall through, but you have access to this entire door part right now, so it doesn't matter. You can just grab it out. If your clips fall, you could just use a magnet tool, go down here, and fish it out. Also, if your window bolts fall, they'll be down here as well. So we're just gonna put that clip back on like it never fell off. We're going to remove these 2 grommets, so just pull them off like this. That's gonna give you access inside of here and here as well, which you need in order to remove the door handle. There's also a red plug in here, which you're going to need to unclip as well. So that's the clip. So you're gonna want to unplug this red part right here. So this plug was for the door handles that we just undid. Now we can shove a 10 mil socket in here, and you can take that bolt and fish it through here with a magnet if you need to. There's another bolt that's gonna be right here. And then that nut comes out. And then another bolt right there. Left more, up. From there, you're just gonna push the door handle in. Down and out. And that's what your door handle looks like with it not being powered. And this is what you're replacing it with. So the only difference really is that it has these plugs on the bottom, which control its power feature, and lights. They look pretty identical. Do you notice any differences between our old door handle and the new door handle? This one has what's called a striking latch. So we need to remove this and put it right here. For some Model 3s, this window railing is in the way. For mine, it's not, but for more convenience, we are going to move it over. It's just being held on by this one bolt up here and this bolt down here. So we're just gonna loosen this one and then undo this one. That way we can slide it over. That way we have more working room inside of here. And from there, should be able to wiggle around. That way you have more play, more slack to be able to put the new door handle in. We need to remove these bits right here to get this latch out to replace it with a soft closing. There's a plug right here. If you look in right here, you'll see it. So this needs to come undone, and that's for the door latch. Little guy looks just like this. Sits in here, we're just pulling it out. These are T25 bits.
Highly recommended a high torque machine. If you hand crank them, you're gonna break your bits.
You're gonna want to pull in this emergency door release. So take the rubber and just push it through the hole. And that way you can fish the rest of this through. For soft closed doors especially, it's actually mandatory that you remove this so that you can remove the latch mechanism. And that is your old latch mechanism. So it looks like this, in case you're interested for whatever reason. Now we're gonna open the new box from TESLAPV. Again, check this out in the description below. We're gonna have Model X soft closed doors. Also, do you know what this foam is for? Let's match it with the old one, yeah. So working on the passenger side, you're gonna want to get the suction mechanism that has the B on it. So there is a difference. This one has a loop, and this has this little cylindrical little part. This cylindrical part is needed for the front one. So we're doing the front passenger door, look for B, and look for the part that has this cylindrical metal bit. It's gonna come with these foam pads, and that's great for noise isolation. The original one came with them as well. So we're gonna take the one that looks like an N and we're gonna put it like this. Putting the U shape on this side. So once you have the U and the N, you're gonna have this last long piece of foam starting up here. You're gonna curve it around here and then run it under here. I'm sure it's fine. No, it's fine. It's gonna get compressed anyways.
Still, you don't want too much because
Okay.
it'd be uneven.
Yeah, you're right.
Set it, right?
So you have a little bit of excess.
Snip, snip.
We're just gonna cut that excess foam off, and then you're just gonna wrap it around the metal right here. This should be for noise isolation, so it'll seal it around here. You have this foam right here, as well as this foam right here. And now we can get to installing this. Looks like a frowny face. Don't be sad. Now the suction motor is gonna go inside of here. So we're going to take the emergency release latch and we're going to fish it through here. The foam provided right here is so the wire doesn't bang against the metal and cause rattling. So just make sure the foam is out a little bit right here. And now our door latch is in place. So you can see the suction lock right there. Our foam around the edge right there to keep it from banging. You're gonna use the OEM Tesla screws and thread them inside of here. First we hand thread these in, and then we're going to use our drill, set it to low torque and push these in. Gently go one by one, not all the way in yet. And after you go gently, now you can really torque them in. Make sure you're on a low torque setting. So after this sits in, take your OEM plug, the one that you unplugged earlier, and then just push it back into this new door latch. So take the shortest wire. It should say FR for front right. This is the front right. And we're basically going to be fishing this wire through this grommet right here into this door area. This is the part that's going to be inside of your cabin. This one connects to your control box. The one with the two heads connects to the door handle. So we're gonna take off this grommet as well as take off this grommet. It's just gonna make it easier to fish the wire through, and we're going to be starting from inside of here, pushing it out this way.
All right guys, so to remove the grommets, first start from the top. I'd recommend kind of pulling it away from the car with your hand and then shoving a pry tool under it. I would do plastic, but metal is okay too if you're careful. From there, there's going to be a tab. It can be black or white or any color, doesn't matter. There's going to be 4 sub tabs holding it to the metal of the car. You're gonna need to get a pry tool or a pick, and you're gonna need to push these tabs in. They're on the side. Once you push them in, pull out on the plastic and then wiggle it out. You'll be able to get the other side out without having to push the tabs in. And that's how you remove that plastic part. The bottom does not have this plastic part. So what I would recommend is looking in from the outer door and pushing the rubber grommet through. It's easier to push it than pull it. Actually, I would say push and pull at the same time with more of a focus on pushing it through.
To fish this wire through, fold the smaller plug over. That way it's slimmer and it's easier to get through that grommet. You see Anand's finger right there? That's the hole that you're gonna want to push the wire through. So you can see him pulling it, and that's gonna come out on this side right here. So you need to go under the black plastic and then into the grommet. Now the fun part, and that's gonna be fishing it through. So we recommend using
WD-40 because the cars are
We recommend using WD-40 to spray inside of here. It's not gonna damage anything. It just needs to be lubed, so that way we can fish the wire through easily. Once that's in, you can use your fishing wire, and then you're gonna want to push this through. So that's fished through, going in from the top, coming out from the bottom. Now is where we're going to fish the wire through, so use some kind of tape. We're going to be using electrical tape. You could use duct tape, just some strong tape that's gonna hold the wire as you pull it through. We're wrapping it around the end of our fishing line, and then we're taping around it so we got that nice hold as we pull it through. When you're at the very edge, you should make sure to fold this that way so that you can easily remove it when the time comes. First, we're going to put the end inside of the grommet. Okay, we got one end through. Go slow so you don't rip it. More lube, that'll make it a lot easier to pull through. Awesome, guys, we pulled it through. Now that the wire is pulled through here, we can install the door handle and get it all wired up. All right, so we need to put the door handle into here. We're moving the window rail to the side and then pushing this in, up. Okay, yep, there you go. Now it's flush.
And also before you even attempt to screw in, check to make sure, like you see this black lining has to be flush.
For this door handle, when you put it in, you're gonna want to pull this out to make sure that the door handle, the inside part, goes under this clip right here.
Otherwise, water gets in.
So we pull the door handle through right here. You're gonna want to pull this out. When you pull it out, you'll see this clip right here. It needs to sit over flush so that it creates a watertight seal. So you see how it went over the tab right there? That creates that watertight seal. That way nothing can get into your door. That makes it perfectly aligned. All right, one hand or one friend is gonna hold the door handle open so that way it's flush against the car, while another person or your other hand goes around the other side and screws the 3 nuts that we took off earlier back in. We're essentially putting the car back together at this point. All right, this is the last bolt. That's all you need to secure this door handle to your car. It's easiest if you move the window rail over a little bit, and then from inside of here, the last bolt on the bottom goes in. So now we need to pull this wire through so we can connect it to the door handle. When you're wiring this through, you don't want the wire to get caught by the window when it's going up and down. So follow the wire path right here. You can see that black wire right there, and unpull it a little bit. All right, that's the black wire that we're running. You want to make sure it goes under this bolt so it doesn't get caught by the window. You can actually zip tie it to the black wire that's down there. But before you zip tie, make sure you take these plugs and then put them in the door handle. That way you have the appropriate amount of slack to pull it through back into the cabin. So plug this in and then zip tie it in place. So now these are the plugs for the door. Just clip this one in and then clip that in as well. Gently pull it to make sure they don't come out, and then put the OEM plug back into this door handle right here. From there, we're gonna want to zip tie the wires back this way. That way they don't get caught in anything.
So if you're having trouble, just start tying loosely up and then move it down here. If you fold your zip ties like this, it'll be easier to manage.
So you can see we have one zip tie up there, another zip tie over there, and we're following the path of this wire right here. This piece right here is going to sit on these grooves. It makes it so much easier if you just lift it up. It sits really heavily on the groove, so you're really gonna have to pry it off and then pull it up. Follow this window line right here. So I'm gonna hold it up while Anon keeps going with the zip ties down here, following the existing wire path. All right, and that's your zip tie right there. We've used already like 15 zip ties, and I really want to stress that you used a lot. That way you don't have any rattling in the cabin, and that way you also ensure that the wire doesn't get snagged on the window when it goes up and down. Running the wire to the existing cable route.
This is the most time-consuming of the installation, which is the zip ties.
More zip ties.
If you have extra slack down here, which we did, it's easiest to pull up from here. You can't pull it from in here because there's not a lot of pull room, but down here, it's not gonna do much. You're gonna want to pull it from here. And this way you can pull the rest of the slack through. From there, you have this loop. You can just pull it into the cabin like that. And now we're putting the grommets back into place. So the bottom one, push it in real tight. You want to make sure that this is water sealed, so nothing, no moisture, no water gets into the electronics area. All right guys, so you want to make sure you have the rubber gasket over this plastic piece right here before you put it into the car. Now that you have that done, you can just go ahead and put it into the hole. And it should clip in just like that. Also, you don't want these spider legs hanging out, so we need to trim these zip ties. We're gonna do that before we put this back into place because we're pretty much done with this area. So we can start cutting these and then we can slot this back in.
Important, cut the zip tie down here first because this is hard to reach before you put everything back.
Be super careful when you're trimming these zip ties. You don't want to snag a wire. Also be careful with the metal down here. It's not completely beveled, so you might have some sharp edges which you can cut yourself on. Now we're just going to slot this piece back in.
Slot, slot, slot.
Does it really just sit that simply? There's no way.
There's a way. Yes.
It was not that simple before, was it?
It was that simple before, yes.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I'm positive.
This piece is just gonna loosely sit right here. Later on, we're gonna bolt it to this right here, which will then bolt to the car, so it'll be held more secure. Now we are going to put the bolt back in for the window railing, and then tighten this one as well because we did loosen it. So now we're gonna put the plastic piece back on. Make sure the speaker is in the speaker spot. We're gonna put this blue plug back in. So make sure this wiring harness is out like this. This should sit pretty flush. Remember, this is holding it in, so don't pull around with this too much. You're gonna want to push this metal clip in. So you're gonna want to put your hands in, go from behind, and push this clip through. There's also this clip, which is gonna go into the door. And there's also one on this side. So make sure they're aligned. And then you can just snap it into the door. Just like that. Awesome, guys. So it's being held in by clips. Now we need to put the bolts back in. There's 5 bolts that we're going to need to put in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So those are gonna go in.
And for these one, use very low torque setting because it's plastic threaded, otherwise you're gonna strip it.
As he bolts those in, we can start plugging in the speaker wires. This green clip is gonna go to the bottom speaker. So again, low torque, and then at the very end, you're gonna want to hand tighten them. That way you do not strip those threads. From there, you can start putting these clips back into their holes. So this one will clip in here. This one goes right here, secure in. This one is gonna go right here, secure in. You're going to get these gunmetal-ish gray bolts, and you're going to put them into the door. One here, one here, one here, one here, one here. I'm not done yet because there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the speaker.
You don't want all that bass to be dropping.
And keep going because there's one here, here, and here. That's gonna be all your bolts in, so just put them in hand tight first. I'm just gonna plug this wire right in, and all the bolts are in. All of our clips are in. We're going to put this clip in, and then our tweeter wire can go in right here. That's good. Lastly, the impact sensor. Make sure to push the red clip all the way in. And now we're going to put the window back in. So we need the window bolts, one that'll go here and one that will go right here. So seriously, have someone help you slide the window in. It needs to go into this weather stripping right here. That's gonna help you align it.
Hold that. I help you. Is that helping? Use a pick to pull this one back because otherwise the window's gonna have a hard time sliding in.
This metal piece, if they're too close together, the window's not gonna slide down. So you're going to use some kind of pry tool to pull this towards you, and that'll help you align the window. Now remember the tape we had here previously? You're gonna want to align it to this. So once your tape's aligned back to where you had it originally, you're gonna want to put the weather stripping back on the inside. So slide it down starting from that end, and then you're gonna continue all the way to this end. Remember, there's a couple of orange plastic tabs at the end and the holes that they go into. So push this down and then try to align the plastic tabs and push it in. Make sure it goes over this noise seal, weather seal as well. All right, I would not recommend using an impact or a mechanical tool for this, because if you put too much torque on the metal plates that are holding your window, that might cause you to lose the window.
Pro tip. Stick.
Now be super careful not to drop it, otherwise you're gonna have to remove this whole piece again. So use a magnet, make sure it catches some threads. Guys, be super careful with this part. You do not want it falling in your door panel.
Just thread in a little bit first because then you can still move the window around.
Now we can test it once we plug in the footwell light, because right now the car thinks the door is closed. So to test this, you could pop this light out, or if you have a spare one, which is really cheap. Wait, these are the same ones that are in your trunk too, huh? You can just find these anywhere. Pretty universal. So plugging this in, the window should roll up, roll down, roll up. I think it's gonna roll up. Nope, I think it's gonna roll down. Perfect, it rolls down. All right, we're gonna temporarily place the weather seal back on, and we're gonna hold this, just guide the door close. Okay, no wires will get snagged. So we can see that it is not lined very well. Otherwise it'd be hitting this glass. So easy fix. All we gotta do is take our 13 mil and adjust this side. It was fine down the bottom, just when it went to the top, so the top part.
Whenever you need to adjust the window, make sure you first unplug the puddle light, and then once you do that, you can take your ratchet and undo the bolt. I'd say about 3 clicks is enough to where there's still some tension on it, where you can slide it around, but also not enough to where it's going to be just like falling all over the place. But if you are also getting a lot of wind noise in your cabin through your windows, this is a great way and a great time to adjust your window to make a better seal.
Okay. Whoo! Wait, I want to see how close it is. I mean, I think the whole thing now just shifts over a little bit.
Yeah, I have to shift it.
I wanted to keep these multiple clips in because I wanted to show you that it sometimes does take a couple times to realign the window. No big deal though. So same thing, unplug the puddle light. There's only 2 bolts for the window, so undo whichever ones you need to do to move the window around. Secure those, plug the puddle light back in, and then test closing the door, making sure no wires get snagged.
A little too far. No. I think it's good. Close it. No, way too far forward. I can put my finger through here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm good with that. All right, we're gonna grab our little cloud friend and we're gonna put it back on the little hooks. There is a very distinct way in which it'll go. Find the way. This is the way. And hooks, and then it'll just hang from there. We have to pull it up though because that's how the plugs are going to go in. We'll bring it back to the front. We're gonna just set it up right here against the side area. We'll close the door a little bit and then we can start plugging in the wires. First, let's plug in our puddle lights. Then we're gonna plug this white one in. This white clip is going to sit in this little crevice right here. Push it in, twist it to lock it into place. This wire is gonna go under here to be with this wire right here. So we can click those into place. This one is going to rest in this groove right here. We're gonna take the speaker wire, we're gonna go up here. There's the zip tie point, which is going to sit right here. Then we have this blue wire. Let's connect that, just in here. And then we have this clip, it's gonna sit in here. All right, and then the pink parts are going to go where these little channels, clip channels are. All right, so this clip right here, there's a hole where this zip tie point is gonna go into. Right next to it. Okay, so you're gonna take the emergency release handle, put the cylindrical part into here, and then we're gonna take the wire, we're gonna twist it this way, and then put this into the groove. Pressing it down to make sure it locks in. All right, now we can clip it in. All right, so going from the top, press it down. No, wait, hold on. Yep, all right, clips are aligned. Press it in. Awesome. Clips are in.
All right, now you're just gonna screw the 3 bolts that are holding the door panel to the door back in. One next to the reflector, one underneath the driver pop open button, and then one under the window switch area.
All right, so now we're gonna take our little reflector guy. Remember to pay attention to this side up. We're gonna shove it in from the up position first because it has clips. Boom, awesome. Now for the tweeter. All right, so now we have our tweeter. We're just gonna connect it. It only goes in one way. From there, make sure this little tab right here slides on to this little tab right here. It'll be very obvious. Slide the wire down, get the clips ready, align the tabs, and your little tweeter's back in. Awesome. Now we are going to do the rear door. So we're not gonna put the panels on. So pressing this close, sucks it in, everything works just fine. You can now go ahead and remove your tape. All right guys, now it's time to remove the back door on the Model 3. First, let's pop open our door. You have the door panel just like this. For the rear door, it's just gonna be 2 screws to remove. Unlike the front door, one right here underneath the door pop open button and one right here under the window control button. From there, you're just gonna take 2 pry tools. You're gonna want to come underneath the door. Let's start from the middle. What really helps is putting your hand inside this door part and prying it away from the metal a little bit, enough so where you can put a pry tool underneath it. It's great that these are angled because we can just push these in and then slide our fingers under it. From there, once you have some finger grip, you're gonna want to push against the door and then pull the plastic away from the door. There's just gonna be clips that are gonna pop out of place and the door will swing open just like this. I believe there's 2 clips on the bottom right here and there's clips along the side. So you're gonna want to pull these off as well. Big clip right there, big clip I believe right here, and from there, this is just gonna slide up and off. So let's do it together guys. We're gonna push it up and off. Be careful because there's still wires connected to it. Whenever I'm removing doors, because there's still wires connected to it, I will then close it a little bit so I can rest the door on this part as well. The first thing that we're gonna wanna do, and trust me on this, is to remove and uninstall the puddle light. So push this pin in, and then we're going to pull it out. All right guys, so we want to remove the glass. So we're gonna want to take off these rubber grommets so that we can see where the window bolts will line up so that we can remove it. Let's watch it as I roll the window up. And as you can see, the bolt is now easily in view. What's important is that you are able to get it out with a socket or something. So you just need to have enough clearance to put that in and then take it out. From there, we can disconnect the door panel. Let's pull up the little cloudy bit. It makes it a little bit easier. From there, let's disconnect the speaker down here. So for this one, we're gonna push the little plug pin down towards the bottom, and then we're gonna pull it away from the speaker. Get your little C clip removal tool. There's the zip tie clips in here. You're gonna want to push it underneath and then wiggle it out. When it's removed, it'll look like that. Now there's a few more clips. So this blue one right here, we're just gonna move it out of its plastic clip housing. From there, we can separate this clip. If you guys are having trouble pushing it down, sometimes a pick tool like this will help. And you can put it inside of the little hole where the part that's keeping it clipped in is, and push that down. Sometimes that will give you clearance, and then you can just pull it apart like that. Let's get this white plug next right here. That's unplugged. And lastly, let's get this plug right here. This is the same as all the other ones. With a lot of patience. All right, ×2 with a lot of patience. Okay, ×3 with a lot of patience. Whew. Man, let's try using that trick with this little pick and weakening the little tab right here by pushing it in temporarily, so that might make it easier for us, there we go, to pull this one out. This one's actually kind of locked in by a little tab on the top. So you're gonna want to pull this little flap up. Hope you guys can see that. Pull it out. Let's push that little flap back down. All right, perfect. Actually, I think they're all being held in by those little flaps. Oh, that might make it easier. All right, guys, I think I just made a new discovery to get these tabs to open faster. On the back, there's like a little flap. If you can use a pick tool to flip that up, it pushes the locking mechanism into a more release state. So that might help to remove those. Good to know. Once you do that, the door panel should be separated from the door. Let's do a quick test and open this up. You can see the wiring harness is completely disconnected, and our door panel can come off just like so. All right, guys, from here, there's this emergency release latch. This needs to come out. To do this, you just want to unclip it from these plastic tabs right here. A great tool for this would be a pry tool. You're just gonna go underneath here and pull it out from that. Sometimes you can even just pull it straight out without any pry tool. There's a clip right here, which is also being held onto. For me, it's like a C shape, so I'm just gonna scoop it up and then fish it out from underneath. And then this should be released like that. This is going to be fed into the door once we get this part off. Do not touch these 4 bolts. Do not touch those 4 bolts. Please, I am begging you. No touchy. All right, now it's time to remove the glass. So we're gonna focus on these 2 bolts. The first thing that you're gonna want to do is mark your glass with tape. Now this is the last door I'm doing, so I've kind of learned a lot in my time of doing this. Number 1 is that you do not want to be stingy on tape. Place as much tape as you can, get the best alignment. So in the front, I'm gonna place a piece of tape right here. You can see it's indenting it a little bit. Just remember that, or for me, I will remember that. Remember how your tape is placed. And then I'll take this other piece of tape and we're going to place it right here as well. This one also with a slight indent. I'm also going to do the height. This one's less necessary, but I still like to do it. So we're going to mark the height right here. And so you can see it like crosses right here. And then we're going to do the height on this side as well. Looking on this side, it might not sit as flush. You can see it kind of bulges a little bit right here, but I like it to where it's sitting right above this black trim piece. So now you're gonna need 2 things. You're gonna need someone to hold the window. You're also going to need this 13 mil. So we're gonna take this and start removing the bolts. You're also going to need a magnet to help fish out those bolts because it's easiest to not have them fall through the door. So have magnet at the ready, 13 mil. We're gonna go into this first hole and we're going to go to the left. I like loosening a little bit on this side first, and then we're going to loosen this one a little bit as well. From there, I'll go back to this one and we're gonna remove it all the way. Once it's threaded all the way out, I'm gonna take my magnet and I'm gonna put it in here to help pull this out. Boom, that's your window bolt removed. Boom, another window bolt removed. Before you remove the glass, you're gonna want to pull this plastic trim off on the inside. It's gonna go around up here, so clips are holding it in. Once these are unclipped, you're gonna want to go along here and push this up. There's also this side which is clipped in, so if you have tape on this already, move it to the side. You're gonna want to undo this right here. Yep, it's one piece. So just clips, and it goes over the weather stripping right here. Oh wow, this whole piece is one plastic piece. And we're just gonna pry this off. So that is your weather stripping for the back. All right guys, now grab the glass and just pull it up. Now we're gonna get our 8mm socket and start removing the bolts. I got a little bit carried away and I already removed some, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to also have 6, 7, 8, and 9. From there, we're just gonna unplug our window regulator. It's a simple press in and pull down. From there, this whole thing is gonna come off. Gently pull it up. It's being held on by clips on the side. And there we go. Comes out, right on out. Geez guys, there's a whole lot more working room with this door. First thing that we're going to do is feed our emergency release latch through. Yes, the Model 3 has an emergency release latch, but you have to take apart the door to get to it, so it's not very practical. This clip can be a little bit stubborn, so just persistence is key with this one. Once that's in, let's unbolt our OEM door latch. We're gonna put this guy on the max torque setting, and then quickly undo each bolt. Then this should just come on out. Let's grab our new latch. This one should have a loop at the end, and it's going to say A around here, right there. So to do this, let's worry about the emergency release cable later, and we're gonna line it up with the bolt holes over here. Once it's lined up, let's start hand tightening it. We're gonna go on the lowest torque setting. We're gonna push from this side and then also push from this side as well. We're not gonna go all the way in, just enough to have it grip tighter in place. And then you're gonna go in and really tighten all of them. Awesome. From there, we can wire the emergency release cable through. There's this foam piece. It does not need to go all the way through. It just needs to make contact with this metal so there's no rattling. Fish it through. Awesome. Just that's pretty good. To activate the soft close, you need to plug in the OEM connector. That's pretty much it for that. Now let's do the door handles. Inside of here is this red tab. You're gonna use a hook to go inside, pull it down, and then just pull it down more to fully release it. Awesome. Now that it's removed, it should be dangling out just like this. Now it's time to remove the door handle. There's 3 bolts on the door handle. There's one right here, there's one a little bit lower, and then there's one up top as well. This is going to require a 10 mil, so we're going to go straight through here. We're going to unbolt that one. This grommet right here is hiding a bolt, so let's peel that off. Then we can come through here and unbolt this one. There's another grommet right here. This one's a harder plastic. We're going to remove that. There is a little rubber around it. If it comes off, keep it with the grommet just right here. Mine stayed on this time. On the previous door though, it actually came off and we had to just put it back together. And that's how you reach the last bolt. All right, so now the door handle is pretty much off. See these clips? That's what holds the weather seal and keeps them firm with the door. All we're going to do is just push this in and try to catch it from the other side. And out comes your door handle. Look at it. Woo! Now let's grab the auto presenting door handle mechanism. We're going to just slide it in from the inside. I'll show that to you right now. So we're gonna come in here and we're just gonna slot it up. Pay attention to the bolt holes. They will be a great guider for when you put it in. Awesome. So now it is in a relatively good spot. Let's go on this side. The tabs that are from the metal panel need to go into the overlaying layer of the door handle. It shouldn't go under, otherwise you're not going to have a proper weather seal. All right guys, so the door handle is in. Remember 1, 2, 3 bolts. Looking at the previous door handle, the tabs from the door are going to go into these slots underneath this top part, but right into these little slots right here. This is the OEM door handle, and we need to remove what was on right here. It's just a little plug. Unscrew these. I think it's like T15. Pull this off. Put it on the motorized door handles, the one that came with the kit, and then you're going to put it in that door, just like the same as you've done with the front door. Now we need to run the wire to the grommet. I'm up in the front because this is a big part of it. We're going to pull this weather stripping up and off right here. We're going to pull off this wiring channel. There's a clip right here and there's a clip in the front as well. Be careful because the metal is pretty sharp around here when you're running your fingers along it. So just pull this up a little bit. This black part is the most important part. We need this to wiggle free a little bit. Now that black piece right there is a clip. That needs to come undone. So we're just going to pull gently, continuously towards the car that way until that comes out. There's also another clip up here. Pay attention to that. It's right above this like little zip tie point, and that will give you a lot of room to work inside of here. Now let's remove this grommet. Just like the front one, the bottom one is simply a rubber piece that you're just going to pop out. So to remove the grommet right here, we need to remove this plastic part like as we did in the front. We're gonna press in the tab and then pull it out. Same thing with the bottom one, press in the tab, pull it out. There's tabs on the other side as well, but once this side is free, one side is free, you should be able to more easily pull this out. There we go, it's removed. So now we're going to route the wire.
So I made a mistake pulling off this back panel, and you don't really have to do that. So pretend everything I'm saying is from the front. Go from the front, and from there, if you pull off that side panel enough from the body of the car, you'll be able to gain access into that grommet. You're just going to push the wire through. There's actually no need to fish it through. Like the front one from the cabin to this immediate part of the grommet, you could just push it through, honestly. Again, what I just said I think is the easiest way. You're gonna push the wire from the cabin side behind this little panel piece on the interior through outside to that grommet. Make sure it goes through the plastic piece so that you can then fish it through the grommet. But again, there's no need to come back here and remove these back panels. There's totally no need for it. You can just do everything from the front.
To route that cable through. So the cable's gonna go into here. You gotta feel around for a hole, and then it's just gonna come out right through here. From here, we're going to take this. We need to go through the white piece and into the black piece. But let's lube it up first. That way it slides in very easily. All right, awesome. Make sure you don't go too fast because you don't wanna break the rubber. That's never good, especially because this means water damage if you do. From there, we are just going to pull straight down. We're gonna use more lube on the tape. It starts out good, and then at the very bottom, it just like goes in between the wires, and I think that's the stuck issue.
Okay, so what do I mean by in between the wires? Well, when you're fishing it through the grommet, you're gonna wanna try to push this fish tape to the outside of the grommet and push it down. That way it doesn't go in between any OEM wires, which will make it really, really hard to fish the pre-existing wire through. So make sure this orange wire or whatever fish wire, fish tape, whatever you use, when you're pushing it down, try to push it to the outer edge of the grommet and pull it through.
Good. Good. Wild. All right. That might take some time.
Cool.
From there, you just remove the wire if it was still stuck to your fish tape. All right, so we'll take this and we're just going to pass it into the door. Be careful though, because you know the door is metal and you have just insulation. You don't want to rip the insulation. You're gonna feed more wire through, continuously pull. It's actually better to feed wire up here. And then once you feed quite a bit of wire into here, we should have started from that side. Doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, we should have started from the other side. We should have done it from the other side, but it doesn't matter. All right, so from here, we're just going to plug it into our aftermarket door handle. From there, you're just going to zip tie it. You're gonna wanna follow the existing wire path so that way the wire doesn't snag on the window. All right, guys, you see all these spider legs? It's time to clip them now because we're not leaving it looking at like this. All right, guys, so I realized I should have routed this from the front. There's no need to do this whole back part. If you're like me and you accidentally routed it back here, you're going to need to pass it forward. So you see these clips right here in my friend's hand? We're going to fish it under the clips to his hand. And that's how we're gonna get the wire to the front. So it's gonna come out on this side right here, and we're gonna test it. So I'm gonna pass this to Nidus. She's gonna plug it into the control box that's on that side of the car. Press it. Oh, that comes out. Look at how good that is, guys. That's so awesome. So when you want to open the door, you would press it and pull it out. It'll suck it back in when you're done, and that just simulates the door closing. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and clean up the back panels over here. We can fish the wire through and properly have it, you know, kind of up to right here so we can close this area up. And then we will put this door back together and fit it in this wire channel. Clip that in. This is clipped in. This needs to get clipped back in as well. And then just clipping it in there. Awesome. That's all clipped in. Let us put the weather stripping back on. Just sits in that groove. We need to put the grommet back as well. So for this door, just like the front one, the bottom one needs to go in by itself first. We got to put the plastic black back with the black rubber part. So it's gonna sit inside here. The rubber should go over it. Boom, that's taken care of. This can now clip back in. Pushing everything through, it's easier to close the door a little bit. And then it should click in like that. Awesome. The grommet is back in place now. We can start closing this up. We're going to put the grommets back for all the holes. Start with this weird shaped one. That's going to go up here. We have the Mr. Circly bit. That's going to go up here. All right, so now we're going to put the black plastic piece on this entire part. All right, grabbing our boy here, flipping it in the correct orientation. You know what, since all the wording is going this way, I'm gonna assume that it's this way. However, if you look up, this sticks out. So we need to go and put this in first, and then come up and place this. Awesome. So that is going to be in place like this. The wire is going to come out from underneath. Remember, these are 8 mil, so we can start lightly bolting these in. That way this will hold on here. All right, so now let's reconnect the motor for the window. Boom, awesome. The rest of this wiring is a wiring harness that goes to the door. But before we do that, let's take our emergency release cable and we're going to route it underneath here. So this C-clip goes underneath here and it shouldn't hide like that. Now, we are going to take our fluffy little cloud and we're going to put it back into the door. It's going to rest on the clips up here. Once it's in the clips, you're gonna take your little fluffy cloud, make sure it's around all the top parts, and you're gonna lift it up because you need to plug some wires underneath said fluffy cloud. So first we're gonna plug in the blue one, and the blue one is being held in by these 2 clips on the side, so put it in there. Then you can plug this in here.
Note for the audience, the speaker plug and the light plug is exactly the same. Be careful not to mix them up.
All right, now it's time for the glass. TESLAFPV glass. So first we are going to slot this in. We want it to make sure that it goes into the metal railings. So the window is going to sit behind the metal parts right here. You're gonna take your bolts with the washers on them. Do not use a impact drill unless you want a shattered windshield. So put a 13 mil on and screw it in a little bit. Just a little bit on that side. Take this one, do a little on this side, and then we're going to start doing micro adjustments to make sure it's good. All right, both bolts are in a little bit. The tape is pretty much lined up, so we're going to try it. We're going to tighten these bolts. This actually, a lot of the excess is supposed to be shoved into the inside. So you would be shoving this in here. So shove the excess in there, and that's because this is gonna go right here, and then it's going to go under this C-clip. There you go. So that is your excess. So take a light, it can be from the door, the puddle light, or if you have a spare one of these are very common. We're going to plug it in, and we need to do this because right now the car thinks that the door is closed based off this puddle light. So you need to plug the puddle light in, the window is going to roll down, and that will allow us to see where it is based on the frame area around the car to make sure it doesn't hit anything. Let's plug this in, make sure you don't plug it into the speaker wire. Before we test the door, close it, the window is very wobbly right now, and that's because we don't have our weather stripping. Let's take this. It looks pretty similar on both sides, but there is slight difference on this one compared to this one. So you're going to take it like this, come up here. So the difference is there's more felt on the side towards the car. So it'll just slot in like this, and then you could start pressing the tabs in. All right, time to test the window. So puddle light in. We're not gonna slam the window closed. First, make sure you don't have any wires dangling. Then slowly close your door. It looks like it'll clear. Why is the window so far down? That's not good. Why is the window so far down? Oh, that's why. It was rolled down. All right, time to test again with the window at its proper state. We will have to adjust this, but let's just close it and see how it is. How's the gap on that side? It's kind of big, huh? That gap is bigger. But this is not bad at all. This gap is fine. We're gonna move it over a tiny, tiny bit. First, if you're gonna make any adjustments, as always, you're going to want to unplug the puddle light. All right, now we need to roll down the window to make sure our bolts are in the good place. Down a little bit more. Perfect. Get your 13 mil, have it go the other way. You're gonna start loosening. About 3 to 4 turns is pretty loose enough for this. Very minute adjustment. All right, let's plug in our puddle light. Rolling the window up. Let's test close this. Always be cautious. That's even worse. The bottom looks more fine. I think this needs to get pulled up, right? Angled. Okay, up. This is pretty good. Okay. All right, so now the window's in place, we can put these grommets to where the adjustable parts are. All right, so now grommets back in, door panel is good, windows aligned. It's time to talk about the fluffy cloud and the door panel. So the fluffy cloud is going to go on these clips right here. It's going to go over these holes right here, but the fluffy cloud needs to come up. That's because we have some wiring to do. Let's unplug our test puddle light. Window should roll up. Now we're gonna start plugging wires in. So do the bottom one first. Should not get tangled, so we'll route this outwards. We are going to plug, we'll do the speaker last. Let's just go in order of bottom to top. So actually, let's deal with this blue one. So the blue one slots into these 2 clips on the side. From there, you can just plug it in. That one's secured. And then we have this white one. We're just going to connect, well, it's keyed so it'll only go in one way. So the white clip is gonna go in this channel right here. We have this clip, which will go right here, just like that. We'll place this one right here. Try to angle the door panel more because it's not gonna reach. Plug in the speaker wire, and then we can plug this in, but it needs to go over this. So let's remove this clip, bring this over, put the zip tie hole in. There we go. From there, we'll clip this back into place. Awesome, everything's clipped in, everything's good. We can now put the door panel back on. Okay, now the door panel. So let's lower our fluffy cloud back into its fluffy position. All right, so just like the front door, it's going to slide onto the groove up top. All right, so what matters is the clips are aligned, and they're not. Okay, the door needs to come this way more. Okay, if it fits, it sits. Or I guess it's, there we go. And that is how you put a door panel back on. Automatic rolling windows work, the button works, this works. Time to close it and make sure it's still good. That works as well. Awesome. All right, that's pretty much it. There's only 2 things left, and it's 2 screws. The one that we removed from earlier, the one that goes under the door pop open button, and the one that goes under the window button. All right, door panel is back together, guys. All right, guys, so now we're gonna route both of these wires that are from the driver's side to the other side. Awesome. So now we fish this through. So I'm doing this hard way. If you want to remove the carpet, it's a lot easier. There's a clip right there. You might need to drop this, and then you can pull the carpet back, but we're gonna try without it. Okay, straight across. Let's do it. So we're gonna try to angle it so that it will snake naturally this way. Let's flip and get it. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Guys, you see that little bit of orange? Oh shoot, wait, we pushed it super far. Wait, bro, wait, what the heck? All right, there we go. All right, fished out. Now time to go to the other side. We can just pull it through. Floor mat needs to come out. All right, this kick plate needs to come out just the same as the other side. So you can use a pry tool, or sometimes if you're lucky enough, you can use your fingers. I'm not lucky enough though, so I will need a pry tool. Right, panels removed. Light shining through here, so you could actually put a flashlight on the other side. Grab the fishing wire that you sent through. Can you feed me?
You see it? You have it?
Yeah, I'm pulling it.
Bro, okay. Start yanking a little. Pull.
Okay, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine.
Pull.
Wait,
Hold.
I need to go under.
Listen.
no. I don't even need to. I have so much slack.
There's hella slack over here.
I can bundle that in there.
You wanna bundle it under where you're driving.
No. Oh, the computer area over there.
Sure.
So actually, there's so much space right here. There's like okay. So there, like right here, there's an actual channel. That's just completely empty. So that's where we're gonna run our wires through.
Yeah, baby.
Baby, let's go. All right, so now that it's through, we're just gonna unravel this bad boy. So we have a bunch of slack on the other side. What we're gonna do is plug it into the control box, find where we can mount the control box, and then we will deal with the slack on the other side, because compared to this side, it's gonna be super simple. All right, so plugging this in, just as we've done previously with coding and testing them, we have our rear left. Rear left is gonna go into rear left, and then our front left is going to go into front left. This is going to be our control module right here. There seems to be a screw hole if you wanted to screw it to something, but I wouldn't screw it to anything. So we're just going to mount it. If you're worried about vibrations, you could probably put a foam pad on either side, but since it's really being shoved up against these other components, it shouldn't vibrate too much. Okay, we're gonna unplug the CAN bus. Okay, so all the wires are on this side. This is gonna go back there. Maybe up here. They have to be up there. And then just wire the cable down there. So goofy. I really like that spot, especially if these wires go underneath here, and then all this can go back here actually. All right, if we can close this panel, guys, that's gonna be wild. Let's see if we can do it first try. The main part is worrying about this front part. We need to make sure that nothing is protruding into its slot point. No way. No way this clips in stupid easily. Oh, that was it clipped in, it went in so easily, that was already clipped in. I just popped it out. Oh, there we go. That is wild that went in first try. So the floor mat's back in on this side, because we are done, guys. All right, so now with this excess cabling, we're just going to go underneath this carpet. You're basically just going to hide any extra wiring. Just tucking it under here. You'll still be able to close the panel, no problem. Oh, my car is no longer torn apart. Okay, and then triangle piece goes on, and then this side piece. And boom, that's it. Car all done. Alright guys, so the video is done. That was a whole lot of editing, so I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Let me know what other mods you're gonna get on your Tesla, and make sure you use TESLAFPV at checkout and get yourself some soft close doors as well as some auto presenting door handles. Like, I mean, come on, look at how excited I look. These are the absolute cheapest on the market, and if you follow all the steps, they're not that hard to install. Okay, thanks for watching, bye!